All right, welcome back to Sports Fans Only. We're looking a little different today. We just got my man Jean Renaud. How you doing, baby?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. Hanging in there, enjoying the weekend.
Cool beans. We're gonna hold it down for the rest of the fellas. Today
Yep.
we just here with a little reaction video, and we're gonna talk about UFC 279 between Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson. Nate's 37 years old with a record of 22-13 with 10 submissions, which puts him in the top 5 in UFC history with submissions. Nate won last night. He beat Tony Ferguson by submission, of course, in the fourth
Yep.
round. Now we're here to talk about in the post-fight interview. Nate said for the time being, he's moving on from UFC and he's going to flex his skills in other combat sports. And he mentioned boxing being one of the sports. So let's take a listen at Nate and what he had to say, and we'll be back with the rest of our opinion.
Nate, it was a wild fight between two real veterans. What was it like coming into this fight today after all the chaos of this week, particularly yesterday?
Full-blown wrestling fight camp. I didn't do no boxing, so we made that happen.
What did you think? Like, what was going through your mind when Hamzat came in so overweight and then the negotiations to take this fight?
I was like, this is such a rookie. I ain't even worried about no rookie.
Was there any concern whatsoever about switching opponents?
No, I'm just here to get my job done. I had one fight left. I told him after not letting me have fight forever, I was like, give me anybody you got. And at least I got a worthy OG representative of mixed martial arts to do it on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nate, this was the last fight on your contract. What happens now? You're obviously loved by everyone, and we would love to have you stay around. But what's in your mind?
All I know is there's been a love-hate relationship with me and the UFC the whole time I've been in this organization. But at the end of the day, I love the UFC. Shout out to Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta, and Hunter Campbell for giving the opportunities and the platform the whole time for everybody and for myself. I feel like I'm the most, right now, I feel like I've had the longest career in the UFC, and I've had the most successful one at everybody. I outdid everybody on pay. I outdid everybody on surviving. And I wanna get out of the UFC for a minute and show all these UFC fighters how to take over and own up another sport, how you're supposed to do it. Because Conor McGregor didn't know how to do it, and none of these other fighters know how to do it. So I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna take over another profession and become the best at that. Show everybody I'm the best at that, and then I'm gonna be right back here to get a UFC title, the best title in the world.
Are you talking about boxing? Are you talking about leaving the UFC and going to boxing?
I'm just gonna show everybody how to own another sport. So all out there trying to run the other sports, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, other MMA organizations, if you think you're the top, creme de la creme right here, I'm coming for you.
Well, Nate, congratulations. It's an honor always to call your fights, and no matter what you do, I'll be there watching.
I want to say Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu all day from the very beginning. Shout out to Nick Diaz Army.
All right, that was great. I love Nate. When I say he's one of my all-time favorites, he's one of my all-time favorites. Now, he say he's going to go in other combat sports and stuff like that, but he's 37 years old. Do you think a 37-year-old can possibly have a career in boxing?
Well, you got to think about it this way. You know, at the level that he is, it's all about the actual skill set. You know, so he still has the speed. You know what I'm saying? He still has the mindset. And his body hasn't been taking that much damage. Like I think the last fight he barely got punched. Like it was amazing. And to be able to say I'm going to move over to boxing, well, you don't need that many fights in boxing, you know, to become great. Especially if you just go straight to the pros. If he gets 4 or 5 good fights under him, some exhibitions, maybe some warm-up fights, you know, whatever it is, and then get some good names under him, I think he'll be a formidable foe. You know, like he'll be, you know, like I could see maybe 10 fights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're not as fast as UFC. So he could really hang in there and do something spectacular with the sport, and change his name into something else and expand to. If you listen to the interview, like he mentioned of just doing, not just going into him doing the combat sport, but maybe he'll be a promoter. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he'll start looking to bring up other people, and he's super excited about starting his own UFC style or boxing style, and the opportunities out there, and I think he should take it, man.
Yeah, me too. I think he's 171, 175,
That's
something
good.
like
That's a
that,
good weight.
which in boxing, that puts him at cruiserweight, a little bit what Usyk was. So he might be fighting a little light heavy. So the thing about it is I don't think he need much time to do it, because he's always been training in UFC. He does jiu-jitsu, if I'm not mistaken, or judo. So he's always ready. In boxing, he's always been a part of it, him and his brother Nick. The thing about it is Dana White always had beef with Nate and Nick.
Okay.
It was either because they smoked too much weed, he didn't like how they hung out, he didn't like the amount of people that they roll with. He's actually suspended both of them on multiple occasions. And if I'm not mistaken, either Nick gave up or they actually suspended Nick for like a lifetime ban. So to me, I don't think he need many fights, because he's going to come in juiced up and ready to go.
Yeah,
now it's
ready.
all on. Now, one thing about Nate, he has a lot of problems with being cut. As he was mentioning in the press conference after the fight, not the post-fight interview, the press conference, he mentioned on this fight, he just refused to get cut. He's tired of getting cut and have to heal, which delays his fights, which delays his training, and it delays his money, and it delays his way of living. So I think he'll be okay boxing, but it's a different sport. As we saw Conor McGregor when he fought Floyd Mayweather. He even looked funny throwing his punches. You remember, he kept doing the spear punch. I forget what it is, hitting in the back of the head. He just couldn't help it. So can Nick really get in the ring and actually hold back his feet and his elbows and the pound fist? I don't know. Now, another thing I was thinking is, he's 37. If he does fight, how long can his career actually be? You said 10 fights?
I say 10 fights. Yeah. So what we're talking about, maybe 1 or 2 a year. So like 5-6 years, making a little name for himself in boxing world, and basically doing exactly like he looks up to McGregor. Like he wants to basically do the same thing that he's doing, starting his own style of UFC, his own fighting style. I mean, I've seen, I don't know if you ever heard of like Bellator fighting.
Yeah.
Very similar, and they're a little harder for some reason. Maybe because the rules are not there, and they don't have a person on top to kind of trickle down. His influence.
They're trying to be a little different from the UFC, so they let a little bit more go. Kind of like the UFC. A lot of these people that watch UFC now are kind of teenagers, early 20s. They don't remember the Gracie brothers. They were breaking bones back then. I didn't even like to watch that sport when you can catch it on TV on a late night channel that you probably don't know about. I think they started coming on Spike first. Spike TV.
I remember Spike, of course.
Yeah, and it wasn't an octagon. That's what kind of Dana White brought to the table, shed the light on. But it was in a regular boxing ring, and you would see a guy at the Gracie brothers, which they have a they got a school in Darien, the Gracie brothers.
I've seen their school. I drive by it a couple of times.
Those guys walked around at like, I want to say 155, between 148 to 160. I'm off with that. I know I'm off, but it's between there. And those guys would be fighting 250-pound guys.
Yeah, and they grab a lot though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
they're jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So
it's all about positioning and getting that strength, like similar to two linemen. They're fighting pretty much in a half a phone booth. So it's all about who can get the position
like one little position
at that time. What was that? Oh, my sign dropped. It scared the heck out of me. I'm like, what the heck was that? I'm like, Jesus. But but I think he'll be able to have a decent career. And to pick up on what you said about they look up to McGregor. A lot of them don't like to mention it because they be under contract with Dana White. He have them locked. Like, that's why Nate was so happy to finish this fight. This is his last fight. Too. It's similar to a musician that signed that first contract. He'd be happy he'd get his little $100,000 signing bonus.
360 deal.
All he do is see, I get $250,000 for 4 albums. He don't read the fine print. It's on the label when they want to put out the albums.
Yep.
So it's similar to what Dana White did, and he held them back. I cannot stress to you, he gave his respects to Dana White, and like he said in the whatchamacallit, in the post-fight interview, it's a love-hate relationship, but he really hates him because the stuff that he did to him to drag out his career fighting for almost 10 years, it's just almost absurd and ridiculous. That's why I always feel the UFC need a governing body, but you can't make someone who own it. That's like I own my house. You can't make me sign over any deeds or anything or change anything that I don't want to do that's not in my favor.
That's what I was saying before. Like, you know, you don't have someone on top that has complete influence on everything on the bottom. So to have a governing influence would actually be pretty nice. But as of right now, I think he owns like 65 to 85% of the company.
And that's just because he sold it.
He
owned most of it.
Once he got the loan, owns the brand.
And
he definitely owns the fighters. I mean, like the McGregor thing is special because he actually personally liked them. You know what I'm saying? Like he said when he first came into the league, he saw his work ethic. You know what I'm saying? He saw his business motivation and he saw his fighting style, and the fighting style was big because it actually helped him, you know, get to the top.
Yeah, you know,
so McGregor, he saw all that. He liked that little trifecta. And if there's a lot of fighters that don't have that, I'm sorry, but Dana kind of, you know, puts you a little bit to the side and uses you as a you know, cash cow.
He actually used McGregor as well because it was a thing about him and Floyd Mayweather. Could he get from under the contract of Dana White to actually fight that fight? What that happened was Dana was like, okay, I'll just take a nice little percentage of that. Thank you.
That's true.
You know, so. Now go
he kind of owns you like John Cena is in a similar situation. Like his real name is his actual brand name, but the brand name is owned by Mr. McMahon, and he can do whatever he wants with him whenever he wants. So you're like in a tight little situation. Anytime you want to actually do something, you got to check with Dad, and it's kind of weird. So I think
if I was John Cena, I would legally change my name.
You could do that. That's true.
It's a way to get her behind.
Try to change the brand.
Because he's big enough now to where people just know him by seeing it.
Just by his face.
That's him. You know it's
That's
him.
True.
So it's a way to get from around that. But you know, they definitely, if they don't say it, they look up to McGregor because he was able to step outside of the octagon and make tens of millions of dollars. Do you actually know he's starring in the next Roadhouse?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's coming out. It's coming out, I think, next summer. They're shooting it right now. So imagine Conor McGregor in bars. He's Irish now. Getting his fill, son. Getting his fill and just whooping up on people like Patrick Swayze did at Roadhouse. Peter.
Yeah,
Roadhouse.
but Patrick was an actor though. Like I believed I believed it.
Yeah,
but this one,
but nobody puts my baby in the corner. I really don't know if acting skills are much needed to just whoop butt all day.
Oh, for that Roadhouse type of style?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's
gonna be like weird too, because he can't change his accent. So they're gonna have to like put him in Dublin somewhere where this Roadhouse is gonna have to actually be like an Irish Roadhouse.
No. You know what? They're gonna do what they did with Arnold. The lines are few and far apart.
Yeah.
Just let him kick butt.
Yeah, you're right.
But
Arnold used to be like, wait till they see me. Then somebody would do like a 5 minutes worth of dialogue, and he'd be like, sure.
That's it. And to be honest, I could see McGregor doing that. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Put it this way: I don't think it'll be a great movie, but I think box office it'll do well. Because it's Conor McGregor. Half of Ireland might go see that.
Damn. And for the same thing for Diaz, man. Like if he could really just take his name, take his brand, and do kind of what Mayweather's doing, where he has Mayweather Promotions. Mayweather has the strip clubs now.
Yeah.
He has the what else does he do? He's got all the real estate owning I think he owns like 10 skyscrapers.
Yeah, he just bought some skyscraper. Corey was telling me.
Crazy, right? So if Diaz can do something like that with the few millions he has and take that brand to the next level on his own and still have UFC in your background, leaving on a positive note, I think all his dreams could come true, man. So
yeah,
that's how I kind of feel about it.
Yeah, I got you. It must be hard for Nate, knowing that Dana White has taken millions of dollars from you. Like he said in the interview, he said the love-hate relationship, but he was saying that he think he's one of the best in history in the UFC. And if you're not part of the UFC, you really wouldn't even know about Nate or Nick Diaz. But you know about Conor McGregor because he got the push. But he never wanted to. Dana White never wanted to push those boys, especially Nick, but Nate as well. He never wanted to push him to the forefront. If I had to just estimate, he's lost like $25 million being suspended, not be able to fight. He don't want him on the card. So I give Nate a lot of respect for big up in Dana White last night. That takes a real man to do that because I don't know if I could big up anyone that has got me maybe $10 million, but has held back from me getting $25 to $30 million.
I know it's a sports show, but I got to bring up the Dave Chappelle thing. One of the main reasons a lot of people don't know is he was owed $250 million for the success of those first 2-3 seasons because the DVDs just went wildfire. We're talking about, I think they sold like 35 million copies. Yeah. And back then, those CDs, those DVDs was like $10, $20, $15. Yeah. So he made $250 quick. And in his contract, he was like, I get 50% of whatever y'all make. Comedy Central made like $500 million. Yeah. He's like, all right, cool. So what's my 250? And they were like, well, you know, we could do 50. Yeah. So like to have guts to stand up for your integrity and do that type of stuff, it's really interesting and it takes a lot of power. And Dave took another route and he eventually got 60 million from his Netflix specials. But for Diaz, I feel like he took some years away too, like, you know, at least 6 or 7 years away from your prime time, not fighting the people that you should fight. I saw a stand-up. That's weird you mentioned David Chappelle. I saw one of his stand-ups from like a few years ago, and he was telling people to boycott HBO. I forget who it was, HBO, that was trying to play some of his stuff because when he went to pitch the deal, they didn't want to give it to him. And he was like, he was kind of hungry when he signed that Netflix deal because he had a kid on the way. He wasn't really had a lot of income coming in. He was spending the money that he had made from other movies like Half Baked and other stand-up stuff that he'd done. And he was saying when he checked the contract, they don't own Chappelle per se, his full name, but they own Chappelle's show. So he can't even come out with a Chappelle show. Yeah, he can't even come out with a Chappelle show. He was telling people to boycott it. Yeah, it is. But you know, that's why you got to pay somebody to read what you're about to get paid. That contract, you gotta pay somebody. You got to. But you know, they always catch people in vulnerable positions. Like I said, a la the guy who's trying to get a rap deal, who's on SoundCloud or YouTube, and he's making chump change. Somebody step to him and say, "I give you $100,000, sign this contract," and don't even realize. Yeah, it's huge. It's like, what more can you do? So you know, that's pretty much all I got to say about Nate. I wish him well. Me and Jean Renaud just wanted to catch up on the UFC 279. One more thing. Nate mentioned it as well. I asked this, then we'll get on out of here. All right. What do you think about the guy coming in 7 to 9 pounds overweight for the fight, and he had to get kicked off the card? Is that professional, bro? Like, you getting paid money. Not even took your purse, and you pretty much took food out your kid's mouth if you have it, your wife's mouth if you have it, fiance, girlfriend, or if not, just you. So what do you think about that? Is that professional, and can you possibly see that happen to a professional athlete? I would say that's unprofessional on the athlete side. Yeah, you know, like that's like he kind of did that to himself. Like when you see your name on the card and they tell you got to be at a certain weight, you got to be at a certain location. You know what I'm saying? You got to do this certain meeting, like all that stuff is in your contract. So, you know, you don't think it's a lot, but throwing an extra 8 pounds of per square inch muscle, and then you were not prepared for that, it really changes the dynamic of the entire fight and what the fans expected to see and what Dana White and everybody else expected to be on the actual card. So when you say card, it's not just card, but it's like a long ass contract sheet of what they're supposed to do. So anytime you mess up a little bit, so for me, I feel it's unprofessional on his end to go and gain that extra 8 pounds, because you can lose an extra 8 pounds, but you can't gain an extra 8 pounds. That's unfair to him. And man, that you lost your bonus money. You could have got 50 grand bonus. Yeah. And sometimes they give you checks that's not part of the contract just because you gave them a good show or something like that. Yep. Dana does that performance contract. And that dude screwed that up. So he'll get another chance because it's not like a terrible thing, but it's like something that you're gonna remember forever, man. So yeah, that just let me know that he must don't need the money. That's all I gotta say. He must didn't need it at that time. You know, well, he'll think about it next time, man. He'll be like, definitely. All right, man, these dudes don't play.
Definitely. Anything else you got, baby?
Nah, man. The one thing I'm impressed is that we're at UFC 279. Like I remember, 99 and 100. Like I remember that, and I thought he would just kind of cap it or rebrand it or something.
Yeah.
But making $9 million, like, every half hour, I guess that's too enticing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm
He
saying?
definitely copied Ed McMahon. I mean, McMahon with that one because I can
It
remember
works.
Remember, I was there for the first Royal Rumble. Like
You
I
were there for
remember
the
it.
first one?
Yeah, the first Royal
You
Rumble in
remember that
UFC.
one?
Yeah, it's like
Damn.
1989, 88.
Woo.
I could remember that.
Damn.
Like they still had
The
the
good
good
guys.
old school
Yeah.
wrestlers in there.
And that's how I
Uh,
feel about UFC 100 because, when it first started, he started fine tuning everything. And I said, damn, he really got something going here. But then I was like, okay, he capped out. He just kind of rebranded and get some new audiences. But he just kept going and the new audience came anyway. So
yeah, yeah,
pretty
yep.
interesting stuff. That's all
That
I
was
have to
good.
say.
But
I'm
shouts out to the UFC. Shouts out to
I know,
Nate
right?
Diaz, and a big shout out to Tony Ferguson, the OG. He got the call on the last minute,
Last
still
minute
stood in
thing.
there,
Yeah.
and he did what he had to do. I appreciate both of them putting their heart and their lives on the line for our peer entertainment.
That's
So
crazy. I forgot about that. You can
yeah,
die in the ring.
yeah, you can die.
Sheesh.
Foot to the temple and you're gone. So let's get on out of here. That's
Yeah,
been my
man.
boy Jean Renault.
Yeah, we
I've
out.
been Sean Mack. It was good to see y'all today. We 2 down, but we'll be back next week.
That's right.
This is and
Sports
forever
Fan Zone.
will be sports fans only. Peace.